Hello and welcome back to Richard's Home Mechanics. As I blogged this morning, if anyone's interested, I was working on a diesel engine that I've got hold of, which is eventually going to end up in a little van, which hopefully I will sell. Right, this morning, as I said on my other blog, I was attempting to free the engine. That is now freed because it had a frozen engine, it had rusted up. I've now sorted that, and I've decided to take the cam cover off and check the cam chain and the tensioner. Right, let's have a look, see how we're getting on. Here we go. Right, here we go. Right, here we go. Right, that's the cam cover I've took off. And as you can see here, I'm pointing down here. When I heated up the cam for the crank bolt, this seal normally gets ruined. You know, it'll melt up. It's a rubber seal in there. So that's going to be replaced, because if you can see along the outside here, I mean, this was not obviously my engine, but there's a lot of oil around here, and for the price of about 5 to 6 quid, I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to put a new oil seal in there. There's nothing worse than spending £100 putting an engine back together, being really chuffed about it, and it leaks oil. It's so disappointing. So if you've got it apart, repair it. It is not worth it in the long run. Trust me, I've done it. Let's just get a torch on there. Let me show a little bit more. That's the oil crank seal I'm going to replace, and if you look inside there, you can see that's the oil pump. I will also check that and make sure that's not damaged, but I think it's okay. Another tip I also do, as I mentioned before, about being in order when you take things apart on home mechanics. This is a pattern of the timing case. I had to think about that, the cam chain cover. And if you look at that, there you go, that's the timing chain cover, and we'll go back again, and that's an absolute picture. So what you want to do when you take things apart, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter, draw a picture of what you're taking off and put holes in it and put the bolts on, clip them in or push them through as you take them off. So when I can reassemble, I can see that's the top, I can start zipping it up, and it tell me it saves a lot of time, and it's much more pleasurable. And also, you will discover straight away if you've got a bolt missing. If you end up with a bolt, you'll think, hang on, but if you haven't got a hole in that cover, it's come from somewhere else, so you're not going to like start looking for it. Anyway, that's done. That's just a little tip. So if you ever take anything apart, make a pattern, draw it, and put the bolts in as you take them off. I can't stress that enough. You know, that really is a good tip. And here we go. What we're going to do, we're going to go back over to the engine. I'm going to pick my old torch up. Here we go. Here we go. Now here we go. This is the engine now. Taking it down. Here we go. Right, here we go. This is a single cam, which is even better. The other engines I've worked on had twin cams, which take a little bit more setting up, but here we go. What I've been looking at, this is what I'm looking at. Is this chain loose on here? There's a little bit of slack on there, but there is meant to be a little bit of tolerance. As I'm not 100% sure of the history of this engine, I'm probably going to replace that cam chain again for a matter of, maybe, I think these cam chains are about 100 quid. It may sound a lot of money, but overall, when you consider to change this gasket on here is 25 quid, 30 quid on its own, and you can buy a whole cam kit with the gasket for about 100, you can see there's no logic in it. It's a no-brainer. You've got to do it. Here we go. Here we go. Another thing you want to look at if you've got a cam chain is this tensioner. I'm going to have to put a light on here. There you go. That's what they call a cam chain tensioner, and that there, I'll point to it, is the plunger. Now this comes out, as the chain wears, this plunger comes out more, and it pushes on the chain, pushes that little blade there, it's called a blade, cam chain follower I think it is, and it keeps the chain tight. Now obviously these tensioners have only got so much give on them. Now that to me does look like, from my previous experience, and I will stress I'm not a mechanic, I'm home trained, that does look like that's come out a little bit too far. That doesn't look like there's a lot of give. So I think that's pretty on maximum tension there. So basically, if the chain wears, it's like a push bike chain. If you remember, you know, when you were a kid, you had to adjust your chain up every so often. It's the same as the engine. As it goes round, you imagine it's so many thousand revolutions a minute, that chain will slack. And as it slacks, that little plunger comes out and it keeps the chain tight. But if it's on its maximum, it obviously can't keep it any tighter, so they'll get to a certain extent, and that's on maximum. And as the chain gets slacker and slacker, you'll hear what they call engine clutter. or clatter, and you'll hear it, and it's very typical on Vauxhall engines with cam chains. They go jit, 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 and you now know it's really time to get that cam chain repaired, because as you can see, this controls the cam, this controls the crank. Yeah, very important. And if you ever, obviously, if you ever take these apart, I never use timing kits. I have got a timing kit. I do use it sometimes, but basically, if you mark it up with paint, quick drying paint, and put it back exactly the way it come off, it will work. And it's as simple as that. Simple as that. Going back to the cam, if this gets too loose, again, in simple theory, if you go back to when you had a push bike, it will jump off. And if that jumps off, you're in serious trouble. Or if that jumps a tooth, because you could possibly have an engine failure, and then you're talking possibly a lot of money, or worst scenario, a written off engine. And as I said earlier on, a second-hand one of these diesel engines, I am struggling to get one for under 300, 350 quid. So that's hence why I'm going to spend a bit of money on this one here. Yeah, it's going to cost me a little bit, but I know it's been done, and it's been done properly. And it's going to keep going for a lot more 100,000 miles. Here we go, that's looking good. So anyway, that's my job for the day. I'll give a back view. I'm now going to probably spend an hour outside on the van, taking out the drive shafts, getting this ready for the engine to come out, because this engine is going to go in. And I will have another cup. I'm going to make myself another cup of coffee, and then I'm going to call it a day. So, all you old bloggers out there, have a lovely, lovely Saturday and a gorgeous weekend. Shame about the weather, but at least it's better than Friday. And I will speak to you again if you're interested, and if you want to watch it. And please, can I just stress, if anyone is watching these blogs and you do find them interesting, or if you've got any questions you want to ask, I'll do my best to help you. You know, if you've got any queries, if you're starting out on your own, like I did. I mean, I said I was lucky. I did train with a mechanic for about 3 years, only part-time, and it wasn't my job, but I did it more as a hobby. And I've sort of, like a lot of things, once you get the basics, it's like a house. Once you get the foundations, you build on it. I had the foundations, and all the rest I've learnt myself. You know, I'm not clever. I'm just a normal working guy. But it's something I tend to enjoy, and I tend to be not too bad at doing it. You know, everyone's got goods and bad bits of them. So say, if you've got any queries, or I would really love to have some feedback on my blogs, just leave a comment, and I'll speak to you bloggers later, and we will carry on with this engine. I'll do the next stage of it, and I'll show you how we're getting on. Take care for now. Bye bye.